Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If I were to ask you, what are certain things that you should not delay in your life? I'm sure you can come up with many answers, but the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he told Ali radiyallahu an something very, very interesting. And actually it's the third point that I want to concentrate on. But the first thing that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said is not to delay prayer on its time. I think we all understand that. It's very important for us to pray on time. The second thing that the Prophet ﷺ said is not to delay the janazah after someone has passed away. And we all understand this. As Muslims, we make sure that the very next day, as soon as possible, we conduct the janazah and we bury our people who have passed away. But this third point, subhanAllah, and when you think about it, it's like, how is this related? The Prophet ﷺ said not to delay the marriage of a woman who has gotten a proper suitor. So a woman who has gotten a rishta from somebody who is upright, somebody who is Muslim, somebody who is compatible with them. Do not delay their marriage. And subhanAllah, you can see the impact that this delay has had on our society. We understand that delaying prayer is going to have an impact on you. We understand that the delaying of the janazah is going to have an impact on the person who passed away. But the delaying of marriage has an impact on society. And we see it all around us. We see that women are getting married later and later. Men are getting married later and later. Children are not being born. And if they are being born, they're being born much later in their 30s and 40s. There's health complications that come with them. You're not able to have as many children. You're not able to have that connection be built. You have husbands and wives who have already been set in their lives for 20, 30, 40 years. Then they get married, and that molding process is just much, much harder. So this impact of delaying marriage for the sake of college, for the sake of career, is really hurting us. It's hurting us as Muslims. It's hurting us as a community. It's hurting us as a society. And the Prophet ﷺ advised Ali radiallahu anh, and in turn advised all of us, that this is going to have a very big impact. I don't see why we cannot get married when we are young and still continue on with what we need to do. Be that career, be that school, be that whatever it is. We hear very often that the reason why we want everyone to be educated is in case something happens, right? Obviously as men, we have to provide. But the logic that goes to a lot of our sisters is that you have to be ready. You have to be ready. What if you get divorced? What if your husband passes away? And it's interesting that we concentrate so much on what happens if you get divorced or if the husband passes away, but we're not concentrating on the marriage and making sure that we give the skills and the mentality and the viewpoint that is necessary for our daughters and our sisters to have a healthy marriage. And the same thing to the men as well. I think that even if we follow the logic that we have to, just in case something happens, you have to have an education. Well, that education can be sought during the marriage. You don't have to finish college by 22, for example. Or even if you do finish college by 22, you can still be married. You can still have a relationship and still continue on with your education. So my advice to myself and to all of you, inshallah, is to encourage our brothers and our sisters, our daughters and our sons to get married as soon as possible, and to heed the advice of the Prophet ﷺ that if there is a good suitor, someone who is a Muslim, someone who can take care of themselves, there's no point in waiting. That waiting is actually going to be detrimental. Inshallah, I hope that this is beneficial. Until next time, inshallah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.